I had mentioned that there was another way to test the doneness of your syrup. Now, if you don't have a thermometer or your battery runs out, just like mine did, you would wait a few minutes after it's boiling and check the doneness. You want it to be at what it's called the softball stage. So I take my very cold spoon. I'm going to take a spoon of this syrup. So you can see I'm putting it directly into the ice water. If I can cluster it together and form it into a soft ball, it's done. Now, this is almost too far, but it's okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pour my syrup into my meringue, my egg whites, my whipped whites. And I'm going to start beating that up, but I have to actually stop it again. So I'm pouring it into a steady stream, standing back, and I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let this continue to beat until this bowl is not hot anymore. So that's the test. It takes about 10 minutes to continue beating it until it reaches a good point. And then I'm going to start adding the butter to this mixture. So Abby just went down for a nap, and within 5 minutes, this is nice and fluffy, and it's room temperature. I can put my hand here. I don't feel like I'm going to get burnt. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start adding my butter. I could slow it down a little bit so it's not making a huge mess. And I'm going to add it one little dollop at a time. I'm going to let that incorporate, and then I'm going to add the next. Generally, what I do is I add my shortening first because that melts at a higher melting point, so I'm not worried about it melting. And then I would add my butter after. There's also, as I said, a teaspoon and a half of lemon juice for the flavor, and a teaspoon and a half of vanilla extract. And so I'm going to do that. It's going to take me a couple minutes. And I'll just have that continuing to go like this. And then I'll come back in a minute. Alright, so this is done. It has a nice, very creamy, there's no lumps of butter in there. This is exactly what I want it to look like. This is a great time to frost the cake, do the crumb coat on the cake as it's soft like this. Now, if I were to put it back in the fridge and let it cool, because I still haven't done the cake, I need to re-beat it up to this consistency again. At first, when I'm beating it up in the KitchenAid mixer, some of the buttercream is going to melt, while other chunks of the buttercream that are solid are going to still be there. And so it almost looks like it's chunky, curdled appearance. That means it's not done yet. That means that it needs to continue to beat up for another, I would say, if it has that look, usually 3 more minutes, and then it's going to be done. It'll look nice and creamy like this. This is exactly how I want it. Now, the one issue with this is, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but generally it is a brighter white, and that's because I usually would put shortening in here. And I used extra butter because I don't have any shortening in my house, and my grocery stores, I don't want to go there. So anyway, I will show you how to do the crumb coat shortly, and I hope you enjoyed that video. And I can't wait to do this with you guys in real life.